Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem, Rakakodash, and double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to those for elect, hearing this word in truth and in sincerity. Alright, I'm the brother Iwalum from the GMS West Palm Beach Camp, back with another lesson. I want to do a quick lesson on the whole total war thing dealing with Iran. And ultimately this is a Bible prophecy happening. World War III is set to happen within the scriptures, man. And there's nothing that's going to turn it back. And the scriptures talk about that. But I have I had looked up what does it mean for total war to be declared. For anybody that don't know what total war means, because Iran had declared total war on the U.S. and I think Israel also, and when you look into it, total war, as it's going to say in the Wikipedia. Now, I know Wikipedia cannot always be trusted, but it's going to give you an idea of what it is. Slakia. It's going to give you an idea of what total war is, pretty much. Let me get the definition. It says the term has been defined as a war that is unrestricted in terms of the weapons used. Right? So, pretty much unrestricted in terms of the weapons used. So, in war, you're only allowed to use a certain kind of weapon. There are weapons that are restricted, and there are weapons that you can use. Alright, so in a total war, the weapons that you can't use will be used. Alright? So, this is what we see happening right now. It's like a free-for-all. And Yahweh Ba'ashem Shai is putting the spirit on these other nations, to go all out, man. The Lord's putting the spirit on these nations to, end this man's kingdom. Ultimately, Yahweh Shai is going to come back, to annihilate Babylon the Great. But before the Lord returns, it's going to be all chaos on earth, man. It says, the territory or combatants involved, Shlakia. It says the territory or combatants involved, or the objectives pursued, especially one in which the laws of war are disregarded. You see, the laws of war are disregarded. Because like I said earlier, when they go out to war, there are certain weapons that they can use. There's a law on what you can use and what you can't use. But in the sense of total war, ain't no law telling me I can't use. Like, for example, I believe the white phosphorus bomb, that's banned in the sense of war, right? So, in the sense of total war, that white phosphorus bomb can and will be used, So then that's an example. Many other things that maybe these other nations got tucked away, because they can't use, But at the end of the day, this is all speaking, volumes, because Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is getting ready to end this man's kingdom. Alright? I remember my brother had made a good point at camp where he said, Esau, Edom, time is short. Alright? And also, time is short in general. So you got Esau racing against time, and then you got us, getting prepared for the for the return of our Lord Yahweh Shai. The time is short in general, man. So, as Esau knows this, he's going to try to move, quicker with his agenda, right? And it's no surprise that all of this is going on while talks of 6G and implantable devices is going on. You're seeing more AI be implemented into society. So we're seeing a lot go on, before war happens, which lines up with, what will be happening in the end times. And you got simultaneous news happening, day by day, man. But this is Matthew chapter 24, verse 21, it says, For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no ever shall be. Right? It's going to be great tribulation. You know, and that lines up with Daniel the 12th chapter, and then Jeremiah the 30th chapter. You know, in the 7th verse, where it talks about a time like Jacob's trouble, a time like never before. You know, so you know, a total war being declared where a disregard of what weapon is being used, that can line up with Jacob's trouble, because you know, who's to say the other nations, you know, won't invade Babylon, and when they do invade Babylon, they in here with a weapon you've never seen before. You know, they're in here with shit that you haven't even seen on TV, man. You know, you probably heard about it, seen it on video games or whatever, but you never really heard about it being used in real life. Well, you know, it's getting ready to happen. A time like never before is getting ready to happen, man. So what you think that the Lord got in store for these people of Babylon, man? All right. Verse 22 says, and except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. You see? And Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua is shortening the days. All right. You know, on a good side, on a good note, it's affecting us good. You know, but on Esau's note, it's affecting him bad, because he has a short time to fulfill his agenda. Whereas us, Lord willing, we be of the elect. All right, we ain't gotta bear this hell no more. You know, we're counting the days in a righteous sense, in the sense that, you know, our jail time, so to speak, is almost up. Whereas Esau, Edom, is counting his days as if, you know, his world is crumbling, his world is falling. So I gotta get going, I gotta get moving. You know, because if I don't do this before when time is up, I'm screwed. You see, and that's the mindset of the elite. All right. But it was another quick scripture that came to mind. All right, when the time is short. That's it. The Apostle Paul said it. Time is short. Right here, 1 Corinthians chapter 7 and verse 29, it says, But this I say, brethren, the time is short, it remaineth, that both they that have wives be as though they had none. All right, because we're living in serious times, you know. And he said the time is short. No, and that was during their time. You know, back 2,000 years ago. You know, it's more serious. It holds, and not saying it don't hold any weight, right? Because scriptures, all the scriptures hold weight. All right, but you know, we can feel it now in our time, because we're witnessing everything. We're witnessing the shortness of time. Salakia. You know, we're witnessing this kingdom go down, so we can feel that time is short, right? Life is getting hard. People are complaining about, you know, living conditions. You know, people are tired. So people in general are getting ready to crash out. You know, and this is what is going to enable Esau, Edom, to come in with his solution. Okay. This is going to enable Esau, Edom, so-called white man, to come in with this solution. You know, and then that's going to put these people back to sleep. That's going to give them a false sense of reality. All right? And that's what the book of First Thessalonians saying. One of my favorites. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 3, and it says, "For when they shall say, peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman or child, and they shall not escape." Right? So they're going to be in that peace and safety spirit. You know, Esau's going to have them to where they believe that they're good now, you know, and nothing to worry about. You know, the attacks that were sent, the threats that were sent to us, you know, was all it's not true. You know, go live your life. And that's going to put these people in a false sense of reality. They're already in a false sense of reality in a sense, because outside of Babylon, it's war going on. All right? You got back and forth going on between these other nations, but, you know, America, you know, is in its own little bubble, so it don't, you know, these people don't see anything. The most they see, the most they feel is the economic turn, the economic downfall. You know, but they don't really see what's really going on outside of the U.S., man. Okay? Verse 4 says, "But ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that day should overtake you as a thief." All right? That day's not going to overtake us as a thief, but it's going to take these people, you know? Because all they want is for their lives to come back. And truth be told, you know, after 2020, life changed. The world changed, and it's not going back. You know, let's get that in the book of 2nd Esdras, man. That's what I want to get also, because the plagues are here. This is 2nd Esdras 16 and verse 1. It says, "Woe be unto thee, Babylon and Asia. Woe be unto thee, Egypt and Syria. Gird up yourselves with cloths of sack and hair. Bewail your children and be sorry, for your destruction is at hand." You see? So, you know, each year that passes by, you know, it's another year closer to the end of this man's society, the end of this man's kingdom. You know? So that's why when the C-19 hit, you know, that changed the dynamic of this world, because that marked the end of an era. You know? That marked the end of an era. 2020 was the beginning of a new era that he slowly seeped in. And that's what we witnessed. We witnessed a new world be brought in, so to speak. All right, a digital age, you know, be brought in. You know, to where you got AI, you know, taking most people's jobs. AI is taking over, man. Everything. Robots are taking over everything, man. So this is the new age. You know, the infrastructure is already set up. So now, you know, they just need to find a reason to bring about to see him. It's verse 3. It says, "A sword is sent upon you, and who may turn it back? A fire is sent among you, and who may quench it? Plagues are sent unto you, and what is he that may drive them away?" You see? So these plagues are sent, man. These plagues are sent, and they're not going to turn back. And like the scriptures always make the analogy of a pregnant woman, right? A woman with child. When it's time for her to give birth to that baby, that water breaks. That baby got to come out, you know. And it's not, you can't turn the clock to where the baby got to go back in the womb and stay in the womb. No, you know, the baby got to get delivered. So likewise, when the prophecies break forward, you know, they're not turning back. It's only going to move forward, you know. So going back to the original topic at hand with the total war, you know, the fact that this has been declared, you know, that smells bad news for Babylon and their allies, because now, you know, and we know Esau, Edom, the Babylonian Edomites, they've got weapons too, you know, that cannot be used during the war, you know, and they want an excuse to use it too, right? And who knows, they're probably already using it, you know, under in the shadows. But, you know, dealing with, you know, other, you know, places like Iran and different places that are under that mindset of total war, you know, well, guess what? You know, This is all prophecy. You know, and they're not, when they declare that, they're not restricted by any laws or regulation on what they can use. You know, and it's going to go down, man. All right. So, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I would like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash, and double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to those for elect in this one in truth and in sincerity. Until next time, I say shalom.